Hello, my name is Allison Field, and I want to welcome you to my vlog, Create Your Blank, where I explore all the tools and tips for you in your journey and creating your blank. Now, I don't read a script. I have a couple of notes, so I go with my spirit and go with the flow. So I hope you enjoy it. So today, I love this topic so much because the vlog today is values, the secret ingredient to aligning your success. And in my book and in a previous blog, I talk about how there are four areas that are really crucial, I think, and important in integrating what you love and are good at so that you are doing, you're most aligned with whatever your blank is. And the four areas are, and for your career, say. So the four areas are personality, skills, interests, and values. And I believe that values are the most important because if you're not aligned with your values, you're ultimately not going to be happy and satisfied with what you're doing. You can sort of fake it on the other ones. You can fake your personality and pretend that you're enjoying yourself and you're not really. Or your interests, you can sort of fake your interest. Skills, not so much, especially if it's a highly skilled job. But anyway, back to values. So I believe values are really important to look at. And I have a really cool core values exercise that you can access in my book, Create Your Blank. So today we'll just dig in. And so, what I like to do is start out with a list of values and pick your top 10. So you can get a list of values for my book. My book is not launched yet. You can pre order it, but you can Google values checklists anywhere and you can get you can download a checklist that you can use and identify your top 10. So a lot of times when I'm coaching clients, they ask, well, should I pick a set of values for my work versus my personal life? And ultimately, excuse me, ultimately, I think it's important to look at what values are important for your overall life. However, I think many times it's important to, identify the values that are important for a particular project or a particular career that might be important to deviate a little bit. But overall, it's your choice. So find a checklist. I'm going to try to put one in the, not try, I'll put one in the comments of our checklist, and then you can use that. And once you've identified your top 10, the next step is really key and important. So it's defining what that particular value means to you. So for instance, communication. If communication is really important to me, and it's one of my top 10 values, it's important to define what that exactly means for you. So communication within your family could mean one thing, but communication at your position, your job, might mean some totally different. Now, they might be both aligned, and hopefully they are in a way, but they might define differently. So, define each value and be specific about what it means to you, because this is your list. It's not, there's no one right way to do it. So, define your values. And then what you want to do is you want to rank the values in order of importance to you, not as a ranking 1 through 10, but like communication for me, out of 1 out of 10, with 10 being really important, communication is a 10. And so for you, some of them might not be as high, and it just depends. Some of them might all be 10. Hopefully, they're all at least 7 through 10 or 8 through 10, because if they're any lower than that, they should be on your top 10 list, right? So one of the ones that you can sort of, I think, are a little bit more flexible around is something like, say, geographical location is important to you. It's a top value. And you don't mind driving, or you like driving, and it's a little bit further. That might be in your top 10 is important, but you might be able to fudge on it. Say 10 is that it's 5 miles from your house. and it might be a 7 if it is 50 miles from your house. And it's really up to you. So it's really important to be honest about the ranking. So again, look at it anywhere from 7 to 10. If it's lower than a 7, even lower than an 8, really, reevaluate why it's in your top 10. That will be helpful. So once you get all your rankings up there and you get your total, it might be 100 of 100, it might be 80 of 100. But what you want to look at is when you're measuring your values against, say you're going to, you have 3 jobs that you want to look at, and 3 places that have made you offers, and you want to look at how they align. This is a really great tool, and I have the grid in the book, but you can just create it yourself, and you can measure each job against the value. So what you do is you rank each value that you have against a particular job, and it might be, say, communication. You don't know, but maybe they haven't been. You don't quite know, but you can project based on your experience or knowledge about the company, or maybe how they have communicated to you if you're looking at communication so far. So, for instance, say company A has been really good about communicating with me, and I really like them. I really like the communication that occurs on their website, if you know it, and I like all the things about it. So it might rank that particular job based on your knowledge, might rank at, hey, it's a 10. I think it's a 10. So you rank it as a 10. Some things are a little bit more easily, like geographical location, if that's one of your top values. You can rank that particular company, say they're 35 miles away, and you ranked being within 5 miles of the location is a 10. So 50 miles or 30 miles might be, a 5 or a 7, and you rank it. And then you can look and see and judge, which ones are most aligned or not. You get a total. And that's what's really cool. It gives you a really objective way of looking at something not so objective, more subjective, and really allowing yourself to make a really good decision based on feeling into that value. And I don't want you to get too much in your head about the analyzing it, because that'll just go nowhere. But feel into, your knowledge about the companies and your feeling about it. Of course, you're not going to know all of it, but you can sort of gauge what it might look like. Another good example is freedom. So say you want a lot of freedom and a company is going to require you to work 12 hours a day. That's going to be pretty low on the freedom scale, right? And it might not be something that you're going to want to sign up for. So that's something to look at. And so, and then let's see, I want to make sure I cover everything. So if your total, say, I'm not going to do math. I'm not going to attempt to do math. No way, no how. But say your total is 75 out of 100. You ranked all of your value rankings as a 10, it's 100, and your total is 75%. I would not recommend that particular job if it's anything below 85. Well, you could take it and it might be fine because of your certain value adjustments. But more importantly, if it's not at least 85%, you're not really honoring yourself and your work that you did, your pre-work you did, to see what was most important to you. So just keep that in mind as you're making your evaluation. I can always, if you have any questions about this, put them in the comments. I'm welcome to, and I'm happy to explain it a little bit further. So let's see. When values compete, okay, so that's really important. So as I was talking about freedom, say freedom is really high, and that's important. Say one of your values is family time. That's another really good example. And your family time is a 10 of a 10. And you get an offer for a job that requires you to travel a lot and work a lot of hours. that's going to rank really low. That's probably, I would think you would want to rank that like 2, 3, or 4, depending on your feeling around it. And it's a good example of, it's too trying on your set of values. And that's when it really doesn't feel good, feels hard, and it is hard. And so invite you to look at that. And then let's see. So values, when you're aligned, you feel ease and flow. When it's not aligned, it feels hard, you feel tired. It literally can drain your physical energy. So it affects mind, body, and spirit all the way around. So invite you to take a look at that. The next vlog, we're going to talk about inspired action and how once you're aligned, how do you move forward and take inspired action? So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Have a beautiful day.